We are rocking and rolling. You just make sure I got everything set up correctly. I make sure I'm getting the audio through my stream. Silence my phone. Almost there. I think we're good to go. Awesome. Well, I don't think anybody's watching yet, but tonight, if you do decide to watch, welcome. Hope you enjoy. We'll be, for those of you who are watching this later, we'll be working on my remaining two kits from Brickmania, being the USATC 40-foot Flatcar and the M4a1 Sherman, commonly known as the Easy 8. Calvin, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. I didn't plan this live stream out at all. I just decided like 15 minutes ago that I just hey, it's Friday, it's an evening, and I'm not doing anything, and I've got kits to build. Why not live stream? So here we are. I'm very happy that it is Friday, the proverbial best day of the week. Nothing wrong with that. I can never get over these boxes. They're so nice. If you ever get the chance to buy a Brickmania kit, I highly recommend it. They're just so nice. The presentation you can see with the black on black, very classy. You open it up. Winners aren't born, they're built. Thanks for supporting Brickmania. Signed by Dan. I love that. I'm a huge presentation person, and things like that go a long way with me. Only watching to learn new techniques. Well, I hope that I can enlighten you with some information. Mr. Cube is here. Thank you for joining, everybody. Hope you are all having a wonderful day. These should go pretty quick. This definitely will not be a several-hour live stream like the Mohawk turned into. And even still, I didn't end up live streaming the entirety of the Mohawk at all. Far from. I only got done with the majority of the chassis and then moved on from there. I am building the USATC 40-foot Flatcar, which should not take too long, and then I'll move on to the Easy 8 Sherman in 1/48 scale. And that will wrap up my Brickmania building for right now. Calvin is still working on his CPR passenger fleet. Calvin, you've been sending me photos of those, and I have been really enjoying seeing them. You're doing a fantastic job so far. Looking forward to seeing whatever else you make. Get all the parts out here. So I believe I might have stated in an earlier video that I made that I think that this kit, the Flatcar, comes with the Katie knuckle couplers that you need to upgrade this, but I was incorrect about that, and it in fact only comes with the Studley Train magnetic couplers. One pair of them, enough to outfit this one single car. Not a bad thing at all. And the Katie couplers, which are the alternative, are not terribly expensive. I'm not intending to do an ad for those couplers right now, but they are actually very not expensive. And if you're converting an entire fleet, obviously costs add up as they always do, but just for a couple cars here and there, it's not nearly as bad. Very much less parts in this model compared to the Mohawk or even the boxcar caboose. I didn't end up live streaming the boxcar, the caboose, mostly in an effort. I just kind of wanted to have them built and completed. And the main reason for that is because I, well, yesterday, even as recent as yesterday, I was coordinating with Brickmania to record the designer's desk video for the Mohawk and the boxcar, kind of together, but though, and I don't know when those will be uploaded. It's not up to me. It's of course up to Brickmania, but I will be informed when they are ready. And I'm looking forward to it because as it's probably easy to notice by now, I'm a very big nerd for details, and I put a lot of details into the Mohawk appropriately, and I wanted to talk about them, so I was very excited to do that. Flat cars are very easy to build by comparison to a lot of other things. It's just not a whole lot to them. There's a couple of tried and true methods and techniques to get the details where you need them, but also maintain the strength where you need them as well, where you need that as well, I should say. This being a 40-foot flat car is even pretty small by a lot of standards. The BMR flat car by comparison is 53 foot, so it's several studs longer. You could, in theory, fit. I think we tried this once. I honestly do not remember, but I think you could, in theory, fit 2 of these 148 scale tanks from Brickmania on one of the 53-foot flat cars. But I do not remember. This is the biggest and smallest locomotive that I've made. Now, the biggest that I've kept is probably the Mohawk. That's not particularly large, but it's certainly the largest and most recent, for sure. I have been working on some locomotives that are much smaller than the 280s, like the number 104 that I have done, and also my number 13. I've been working on a number of locomotives. 3 of them are very nearly ready to be completely published. I would like to do that here in the next week or so. We'll see. And I'm also working on another one that is even smaller, as considerably smaller than a 280, and I'm very excited about it. But I have not posted any information about it. I do this particular one that I have in mind is one that I am extremely excited about because it's compared to the models that I would usually build, or the models that I might be more known for. It's very different, but one that I have grown to appreciate very much, and I'm very much looking forward to having the model for that completed. I do have a pretty good start on it in the brick, so excuse me. This is a chill live stream, by the way, as noted by the title, of course. Just a place to come and hang out and chat and talk about trains and Lego and whatever else we decide to talk about. And I've just gotten the notice in my headset that my headset battery is dying. I have a Corsair Void wireless headset, I think is the full name for it. But it is several years old at this point, and the battery life on it is atrocious. So I keep it plugged in about half of the time that I'm using it, if not more. Which is kind of annoying, but what are you going to do? I might end up buying a new headset sometime in the near future anyways. I definitely prefer the wireless headsets because I have walked away from my computer too many times with the wire still in and done the classic, jerk to the side, your headphones get pulled off your head, and everything is seems to be falling down around you. But you don't have the problem with wireless headphones, and it's quite nice. Let's see. I think I got all the parts in that step. We'll keep going. Is there a 475 in my future? I'm assuming you mean Norfolk and Western 475. I would love to model an M-Class someday. I have a particular interest in unique steam locomotives, and I would consider the M-Classes to be unique because they were the Norfolk and Western was one of the three that I can think off the top of my head. One of the three railroads that used the 280 wheel arrangement the most. The others that I can think of being Southern Pacific, they had several, and Great Northern, I believe, had several. I don't know very many beyond those, if any at all. Those are the ones that I'm aware of, at least. He built a 422 steampunk locomotive and engineer. That is really neat. I've always had a sort of uh, casual interest in steampunk. Of course, being a fan of steam locomotives, of real steam locomotives, of course, it kind of the translation of interest kind of speaks for itself. But I always thought it was really neat. You know, what if humanity had had not progressed past the point of steam power and everything was, we were still living in very Victorian-like times with similar stylings and things. It's a neat concept, and the people who are very into steampunk certainly amaze me. Some of the things that like the artwork that's created from steampunk lovers, and the settings and that I've seen and things like that are nothing short of amazing to me. I think there's some very talented people out there for sure. I would love to see your 422 someday. Does the set come with bearings? Yes, it does. It comes with 4 of them actually, or 4 wheel sets, anyways. Just enough to make 1 car, as per usual, really. Make sure I don't miss anything. And also make sure that I put everything in the right places. Like I said, Flatcar is really simple, so this book isn't even a full book. It's just one of those half things, and it's not very thick either. Not a lot to flat cars, but sometimes they can be challenging. If you try to, like some flat cars, they sit very, very low on the trucks, so it can get a little bit difficult to model like that. But I remember one of the main challenges that I had when designing the bulkhead flat car was achieving that low sitting body on top of those trucks, while also maintaining the enough freedom in the truck swing to articulate around corners properly. And I did a fair job of that, but obviously R40 curves are just ridiculous. So there is a modification step in the instructions that says if you run on R40 curves, all you got to do is just add a plate to the turntable on top of the truck, and you'll be fine. Sometimes it's a quite simple fix, but often the most simple fixes are the most effective. Hope everyone's having a great Friday, by the way. What better time to live stream and build Lego? Snowpiercer eggliner mock. That sounds quite interesting. I've heard a lot about Snowpiercer. That's I believe it's the TV show where everyone's on the train and it's sort of dystopian and futuristic, and it sounds like it's an interesting concept. I don't really have any inventions to build the train from that TV show, but I think it's interesting. Any chance BMR selling the locomotive instructions separately outside of the complete sets? Do you mean the Mohawk specifically? Because if it's the Mohawk you're referring to, I should say, I don't think that will be the plan. Primarily because it's quite an investment for to get one, and we would rather not sell instructions for something that we have uh, worked so hard to produce as a kit, and would not be my preference to do anyways. With trying not to say the wrong thing or reveal too much, I have the agreement that I have with Brickmania for the Mohawk would not allow it to be produced anywhere else currently, so I would not want to step on that either. I do not have a better answer for you about the SD40-2. I have not been as involved with that. I don't know where Kale is, but he could probably give you a better answer if he was here. Philip, welcome to the stream. Glad to see you can make it, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the kits. I'm very glad that you could get one. Sam is here. British Bricks, welcome. You think we need to do a live stream together? I would love to do that. You know how to reach out to me? Let's coordinate and figure something out, because I would love nothing more than to do a live stream with you, my friend. That'd be a lot of fun. Let's see. The nice upgrade about this kit, though, I mentioned earlier, and I believe in a previous video, that I thought they had the knuckle couplers in this kit, but they do not, which is understandable. But instead, this time around, they did, instead of stickers, print on elements, which is always quite a nice addition to have, especially on something such as relatively easy to print on as like a 2x2 tile, which is the case here. Adds a lot, takes a step out of the way of the consumer, and looks a little bit nice in the end, in my opinion. If you can get a really nice UV ink printed job on your bricks, hard to beat. Let's put it in the books. Absolutely. Let's do it. Glad you can make it out to the stream, by the way. Happy to see you here. Hopefully you're, well, I'm sure it's tomorrow where you're at, but hopefully you're enjoying your day, evening, morning. Insert time of day here. Always a classy touch, absolutely. Nothing wrong with some decals. They certainly have their place and make a lot of sense in a lot of applications, but printed parts are just are right up there for me. You can't go wrong though. One of my favorite things about this kit has to be the USATC logo. If my camera will focus, there it is. I think it looks fantastic. Really like the way it looks. I'll bet you that I am going to have 2 flat cars with the same car number on them when this is done, but I don't mind. Worse things have happened. It's a small detail. I don't think I'll go back and change the decals on the older model, and I certainly won't be ruining the print job or the brick printing on this model either. So I'll go with it for now. I'll just go with it flat out. How do we make the printed parts? I am not an expert in UV ink printing, but as far as I know, it's a very sturdy and tough ink that is printed with a UV light on top of the part. Very hard to scratch off. I believe that Lego does employs some similar techniques in their sets. I also know that Lego uses pad printers. Now, pad printers are a little bit different. I do know a little bit about those. Pad printing is where you have sort of what's essentially like a sponge kind of dipped down onto ink laid out in the design that you need, and then it lifts up the sponge and then transfers it over, and then sets it down on the part that you're printing on, lifts back up, and there you go. I've seen manufacturing videos online of like dinner plates and bowls being printed like that, where they've got the same design on it, and it's just the same thing every time, is the sponge just dipping down onto an ink pattern and then lifting up, transferring over, and then pressing down onto the product, whatever that is. Hopefully you learned something new there. But to answer your question, UV printed ink, you could look up that process. I do not have any direct involvement with any of the printing that we do, that I have seen or have employed on my models. I just know a little bit about the process. Oh shoot, dropping parts all over the place. Anybody have any good plans for the weekend? And also, I would like to say, if you are currently in a part of the United States that is experiencing difficulty with the weather, please stay safe. Please do not take any unnecessary risks. I know it's, for lack of better words, it's quite snowy down in some places, and want to make sure that everybody's doing all right and is staying safe and hopefully as warm as they can be. It is certainly there is certainly no shortage of snow where I'm at in the country right now. Can't say that I'm a fan of the snow right now. I'd wish it would just go away, but looks like that's all I can live with for right now. What are you gonna do? It's got to get warm at some point, right? Surely. Assume the pad printing sponge is the most expensive part. I don't have a clue, really. I've never worked with pad printing. I've never done anything in that regard, but I have no experience with it. But you might be right. But honestly, I do not know. Something's not right here. What did I just mess up? That's what. I'm going too fast already. Sadly, waiting for Bricklink parts to arrive via the post. Yeah, I know what that's like. I'm currently waiting on some myself, and it's been quite a while since I've ordered them, and I'm not too pleased about it, but I understand how things can be. Parts are bought from Bricklink or straight from Lego. I don't have a good answer for you there either. I believe some people use a combination of both. I know that Brickmania is a large buyer on Bricklink. I would assume that's where the majority of their parts come from. I don't know for sure. Not an area I have any involvement in. The sides of the flat cars are always the most intricate part, especially when you put parts in the wrong places. Aaron, did you post the TH&B box car and the hopper on Flickr recently? Because I think I saw that. It turned out very nicely. Maybe I'm have no idea what I'm talking about, but you did. Well, I'm pleased to hear. They look very good. Turned out very nicely. Glad to see more people coming back into the wonderful hobby of Lego trains. I'm glad you like them. I know Kale always strives for the most that he can do on when he works on decals. It's one of my favorite, personally, one of my favorite parts of the production line of any model, because getting the decal renders done is when you kind of see everything start to fall together. Even if it's just a render on a computer screen, it makes a huge difference in my mind, and it's wonderful to see. More Canadian rolling stock, perhaps someday. Oh, I've missed some steps. I built the two sides of this flat car kind of simultaneously because I knew they would just be a mirror, an identical build of each other, but forgot to put some 1x2 plates in on the backside. Need to take care of that quickly. CNCP and Grand Trunk, good options. Could certainly, I'm sure we could do some Grand Trunk. They operated out of Michigan, I think. I would not mind having a few Grand Trunk cars myself someday. So we'll add it to the list of considerations. There we go. Time to work on the trucks. I've said before that trucks are my least favorite part of building any model, and I still think that that's what I would say. Do the decals have to be licensed? Not all of them. Some people are very particular about that, but a lot of fallen flag railroads, I don't think that they care very much. Don't take my word for it. I am no expert. That is a legal intellectual property conversation, which I do not have the experience to comment on. Hope everybody is enjoying the stream. Mentioned before, I'll mention again, it won't be a long one today. These are smaller kits, don't take me as much time. Sorry about that, my headset battery just died. Hate when that happens. Make Canadian prototypes. Well, I have maybe one or two I would enjoy doing, but I don't know how quickly they'll come around or how quickly they'll be made into products. I do appreciate some Canadian steam, though. I don't know what the general consensus of the Royal Hudson is, but I think that's a gorgeous locomotive. But I'd probably go for a smaller locomotive if I was going to build one. Yeah. All right. Good thumbs up on the Royal Hudson then. Good to know. I will keep that in mind. I figured it would be pretty popular. I just, I'm not a Canadian citizen. Never been to Canada. I have no experience with the railroads up there. I'm sure it's not that different, but to get to the deck of the Flatcar, it's just gonna be a lot of tiles. And that's it. Trucks that I'm building right now are straight out of the Brickmania Railroad playbook, if you will. Just the standard Bettendorf truck design, originally by Kale. Very, very standardized truck type. Very common on steam era freight cars. Can't go wrong with it if you need a decent truck design in a pinch. More than welcome to visit. Maybe someday. I'm sure that I'm not alone in this thought, but I would love to travel more than I currently do. I mean, not a whole lot of people are traveling right now anyways, for obvious reasons, but maybe I should say I'd like to travel more than I have instead. The Jubilees. I do like the Jubilees. As I've said countless times by now, I'm a fan of unique steam locomotives. The Jubilees certainly fit that bill in my mind. 4-4-4 wheel arrangement and streamlined. Neat look for a locomotive. I quite like it. I don't think that I would build one though. Reason being, one of the members of the Texas Brick Railroad, name of Ed Chang, has already built one. I don't know if he has posted photos of just that model on his Flickr. I do not remember. But there are some photos up from both him and Tony Saba from where they have attended shows, and you can see images and video of the Jubilee, of Ed's Jubilee running. It's a nice little model. It's a good recommendation though. I would probably say that I would want to start out with a freight locomotive as I was going to build Canadian. Because I've always kind of been of the in the school of thought that if you build a passenger train, you really kind of have to build, or if you build a passenger locomotive, you really have to build the passenger train or appropriate passenger cars to go with it at the time that you're building the locomotive. And I'm speaking from experience here. There are 2 or 3 passenger cars that would look really good behind my Cotton Belt Atlantic, and I never got around to building those. And in the time that I've used the Atlantic, I've just borrowed some of Cale's dark green passenger cars, namely the ones that he built for his Central New Jersey 464T, and they work well. They're certainly fine passenger cars to use. They're not cotton belt passenger cars that would have gone behind my Atlantic, and I've been kind of kicking myself ever since for not having just done them right off the bat when I built my Atlantic some time ago. Because now I've got my Atlantic, but no appropriate passenger cars to go behind it. However, I would very much like to rebuild my Atlantic someday. I have I have some ideas on how to do that, and I'm very much looking forward to doing it. It's not in the current plans, but one of these days I'll get around to it. It is one of my favorite locomotives, that Atlantic. I love it a lot. Got a nice connection to it. Bit of family history there, which I won't get into, but I've got a good reason for liking it, we'll say. Not that you need a reason to like a steam locomotive. Just a steam locomotive in its own right is enough of a reason to like it, I would say. So you had two classes of Jubilees built in F1 2900s and the F2s, one that hasn't been built. Ah, that is neat. Are there any large differences between the two? Obviously, I'd look it up right now, but I'm a little preoccupied. I didn't know that. It's interesting. Using what is available from LEGO, how would I power it? How would I power a Jubilee, do you mean? Trucks are applied. Let's get the deck on. How would I power a Jubilee? I would probably go the route of powered up train motors in the tender. It's a little bit less than ideal, but using only what is available from LEGO, that's what's available from LEGO right now. I believe that the powered up system has plenty of. I'm doing this wrong. I apologize. Not paying attention. I believe the powered up system is a good system. For what LEGO is trying to accomplish with it, it works very well, which is setting up, building a train. A parent with maybe perhaps a young child, 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that, building a train. They want it to be easy to set up and use, and easy and pretty robust in operational characteristics. Powered up accomplishes all of those things, and I think it's a very good system for that reason. For the goals that I'm trying to accomplish, it does not check very many boxes at all. But it's important for me to remind myself, and I think it's important for other people to understand, that powered up is not a system that I believe is made for me. Is not a system that is made for people who enjoy taking Lego trains to the limit, if you will, to the limit and beyond even. People who make these hardcore scale models and are seeking to build realistic layouts and operate their locomotives and cars realistically and things like that. But I think that powered up is very useful. I haven't had very much experience with it in the application of like a public show where there's a lot of Bluetooth signals flying around and it could be difficult to work with the app on your phone or even with the controller that they give you. I know that there was some people upset over those performance characteristics at the 2018 MMRA show, which I can't say I blame them for. They were those sets were brand new at the time though, and I believe that LEGO has done some work to improve the reliability of the Bluetooth connection, but I'd have to get more experience with it to say for sure. Is there any other Brickmania kits I would be interested in right now? Yes, the SR71 does look good as a display piece. I have it sitting up on my bookshelf over to my left. Up on the very top, it's a wonderful piece, or wonderful model, I should say. Cody did an absolutely phenomenal job on it. Cody's a phenomenal builder. I've been really interested in the new Huey, the Bell UH1 Huey that they've done. I did not get one though. This was right at the time that I was, purchasing all these things, so I felt that I had spent enough money, if you will. But I'd kind of like to get one of those, maybe someday when they restock it again. I'm sure I'll get more of their railroad products whenever those happen. And no, I don't know anything about any more railroad products anytime soon. Let's see. Nerd Brick, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're about to wrap up this flat car. Getting very, very close to the end with it. Got the deck on, looks all good, except I put parts in the wrong place, and I'm struggling right now. Oh dear. Easy fix, but should have caught that. Maybe an easy fix. Yeah. Swap out some tiles and plates, and we'll be all set. There we go. Deck's on. Trucks are on. There we go. You sure hope they will restock the train kits. I sure hope so too. I would not be surprised if they do. I don't know, though. I don't have any say in what Brickmania does and does not restock, but I think it would. I think it's a definite possibility for them to restock the train kits. Getting the ladders on now. Really wrapping up. Flat cars, like I said, do not take very long. How many parts are in the tank? 381. There's only like 31 more parts in the tank than there are in the flat car. I do enjoy getting sets where the flex tube comes pre-cut. Not that I really have a problem with cutting my own flex tube, it's just kind of a nice thing to have already done. Need the Easy 8, it's coming. As soon as we get the flat car done, that's the next build, and that's the next and final build. Final kit build for me for a while. I've done a lot of kit building recently. Should get back to custom models. What do you guys think? I've done a fair amount of custom building too. Like I said earlier, I've got 3 locomotives that I would like to publish here in the next couple weeks. But we'll have to just wait and see on some of those. Oh, just realized something. Forgot a whole bunch of parts in the truck, so I was wondering why I had a bunch of leftover pieces and what I was going to do with them. But turns out I'm just skipping a lot of things, which is not what I need to be doing. I'll flip that back over and take care of it then. Very nearly there. I built one of these before, so I can't say this is the most interesting thing I've ever done, but if you're looking for a fairly easy build, A flat car is not one that you can go very wrong with. They take up some good space. They're useful. You can put a lot of interesting loads on them. Hard to go wrong with them. Anybody at any skill level can build one too, no matter how advanced or how beginner you are. It's one of the easiest cars to make. Done. Flat car is taken care of. And the nice thing about this is that it gives you the instructions in here for how to modify your trucks to accept the KD knuckle couplers. It uses a 743Z type. Walks you through how to modify that. Can't complain there. I'll do that later though, so I'll keep the instructions out just so I know what I will need to be doing there. We'll go ahead and get everything back in the box and out of the way. Done with that. Now we're moving on to kit number, what is it? 6007, doing the M4a1 Sherman, which I believe is supposed to represent Fury. Model designed by Dan Siskind, 148 scale, skill level 2 out of 5, 381 parts. With a number of printed elements as well. Same lovely box. A lot of track links in there, that's cool. Here we go. Fury was a wonderful movie. I very much enjoyed it. Very fun to watch. I enjoy war movies in general. That was right up my alley. Leave the track links over there for now. I kind of wish Brickmania made more 148 scale kits too. I can't speak on how well they would sell either, but I do enjoy the ones that they have made. More 148 scale military kits, I mean. I would love to have a bigger military scene, bigger military train for myself. It's a really cool thing to be able to have. It's a very eye-catching thing to see. You know, when you see like a steam locomotive or pulling, you know, a long line of Sherman tanks or really jeeps or artillery pieces, what have you. It's a really interesting thing to look at. Very neat. Certainly no less cool than 135th scale like they usually do. Interesting. I have never built a tank on my own before, so learning how to do it here is quite an interesting process for me. Switch from a lot of black in the Mohawk to a lot of dark gray in the tank. You missed the reddish brown. That was all the caboose in the boxcar was. Thankfully, though, I didn't break any of the parts. Reddish brown is a notoriously brittle Lego color. I did, however, break some reddish brown more recently, doing some building for myself. That's annoying. I hate having to sacrifice parts like that, but I'm not the first person that's happened to for sure. I'm definitely not going to be the last either. I've always thought tanks were really, really interesting because it's like any other engineering challenge. You want to find the balance of attributes that make it work, of course. But a tank's really interesting because you have to make it very strong and very resilient in the armor, while also making it light enough that it can move itself around and get where it needs to go, and quick enough to be able to outmaneuver and outperform the enemy. No shortage of engineering feats that go into tank building, tank design. Not my area of expertise for sure, though. I'll leave that to other people. Do I have a permanent layout? Man, I wish I did. All that I can do right now is set up some track on my apartment floor and run for a while, and then eventually I have to take it up because it just starts getting in the way, and I'm about at that point right now. Unfortunately, I would love to have a permanent layout. I don't quite have the space in my apartment right now to have one, though. But someday that will change, and at that point, I would love to build my own layout. The layout that I really use has just been the pen leg layout, but of course, nothing very recent with that. And no, I'm not alone in that either. My good friend Kale does not have a home layout either, so he's in the same boat as the pen leg layout being the layout that he is able to run on whenever possible, anyways. I've seen a lot of people post their layouts in particularly recent times, and I've been really jealous about them, to be quite honest. I would love to have a place to run my trains permanently that I could make look pretty with scenery and buildings, and have fun with running just regular loop running, but also, you know, switch some cars around. That would be awesome. Someday that'll happen. Oh, Zach's here. Hey, Zach. Glad you could make it. Build's going pretty good. I built this flat car, and now I'm working on the tank to go on it. You hope I display my engines in rolling stock? I do. I actually have like a shelf and a half of bookshelf space dedicated to that. It's actually one of the reasons why I got that bookshelf in the first place, was so that I could have somewhere to put my my models that were complete, but I didn't have anywhere to run at the time, and the ones that look nice, of course. Like, I usually keep my number 13 out. Usually keep out a number of the rolling stock that I've done recently as well. Maybe in model train layout then. If I was going to do a layout, it would be a Lego layout. If I was going to completely drop Lego as a hobby and move into traditional scale trains, I would probably either move into HO scale and do as detailed work as I can, or move into Proto 48. Because a lot of the Proto 48 mindset, I think, would translate from Lego pretty well. Because that's a lot of scratch building and a lot of very particular custom work and things like that. And I think it would fit me pretty well, personally. Give you an example of one of the tank wheels. I don't know if there's a more technical name for that, but I believe this is just a 1x1 round printed tile in pearl silver with the same pattern that they use on their armament for some helicopters. I could be wrong. It looks the same in my eye. Either way, though, I think it's a neat detail, and I think it is a really neat feature. Such a small kit, relatively speaking. I think it's neat to have some extra detail like that in here. This is very similar, and I guess it should be for good reason, to the M4a1 Sherman that I did. Not that I did, but that I built, that Dan Siskin designed, that I built from previous Brickmania years. I guess it makes sense. They're both Sherman tanks. They're both similar size, similar purpose. I'm not a tank expert, so I don't know all the differences between the two, but other than just the visual differences. Same pattern that they use as the rocket pods. Okay, I knew that I had seen them somewhere. Glad to know I'm not losing my mind. I have my phone next to me over here on my desk, and I see that Calvin has just sent me a crash course on CP Jubilees. Calvin, are you suggesting that I need to build a Jubilee? And are you suggesting that I need to do it like right now? I appreciate the enthusiasm. Cool. I'm working on the suspension detailing right now. I always love, for some reason, I don't know what it is about this detail that I love so much, but particularly on the Brickmania tanks, I love seeing working suspension. Like, it's such a neat thing for me to look at, in my opinion. Seeing all of those wheels articulate and move up and down and things like that, oh, it's lovely. Wish there were better ways of doing suspension in like train trucks and things like that, but I don't think it's an area that's particularly going to cause me to lose any sleep over at night. All right, so there are 84 track links in here I just learned, and you put all 84 of them on in two steps, 42 and 42. This is going to be the most tedious part. One, two, three, four, five. I love their track links though. It's a really neat, easy design. They work well. Glad that they made these. Make sure I count these properly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. I'm gonna build them in 10 steady increments, or 10 length increments. When will you see all my Brickmania kits rolling? Good question. I guess I should do a video on that. I've got quite a few of them now. Could do one with the Mohawk and the S160 together. I don't know if I'll do that very soon. I might just before I take my track apart from my 4, but we'll have to see about that. Have fun with the track links. That's, I guess, just the most tedious part of any tank build. No matter what tank it is, as long as it's got links or treads, it's got to be tedious somehow. Unless you get like the Lego rubber band treads that I don't care much for. I don't think they look as good. I don't think they work as well here. Track actually rolls on this model surprisingly for its size. Yeah, I would agree. I think that the M4a1 did the same thing, which I was also surprised because it's quite a small tank, and obviously the smaller scale that you build, the harder it can be to work in details, and particularly things like a rolling tread. But track links, I think, accomplished the job quite well. Nice thing about it is that once I have 42 separated out, I can just go ahead and build the others straight through. There's 40, nearly halfway there. Now we're halfway there. There are extras. Darn. I take it that you've got one of these then. Thank you for letting me know about that, by the way. Appreciate it. That way I would have, otherwise I would have ended up with super loose track links on my tank. Don't want that. I want to build it how the instructions tell me to do it. Cranking along, guys. Apologize, this has got to be the most boring part. Got 2 more lengths of 10 to do, and then I should have 2 left over than that. And then we should be all set on the treads. One more on that one. Can't remember now. No problem. Appreciate the heads up that there could be extras at least. Should be winding down on it now. Built a few of these tank kits from him. That's nice. Getting very close to the end of the tank tread steps. And I think that there are going to be a couple extras. Yep, there is going to be 2 extras exactly. Guess it will depend on how tight, how taut or loose you would like to have your treads. There's one. King Tiger, welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying your Friday evening, or perhaps Saturday morning, wherever you are in the world. Hope you enjoy the stream. Working on the 2 Brickmania kits that I have left to build, being the Easy 8 Sherman in 148 scale, and the new version of the USATC Flatcar, also in 148 scale, with printed parts. It does roll quite smoothly. I like that. It says 42 on here, right? Yeah, it does. I could probably remove a track link from this. Don't want to break them. I doubt that they're super easy to break, but even still. Oh, can it reach? I don't think it can reach. I don't think you can make it work with 41 track links. How about that? No, I don't think you can do it. Man. Oh, you can do it. Never mind. Still rolls pretty well. 2 a.m. in Estonia. You're in Estonia. Wow. Didn't know I had such a foreign audience. I love it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Nice talking with you too. And sleep well. It's harder to connect these with the 41 links in them instead of the 42, but still works quite well. Obviously, it's a lot more tight, but kind of the purpose. Personally, I will not be. I don't think that I'll be doing a whole lot of playing with this tank. I'll most likely just leave it on the Flatcar and let it chill there. But basically, the hull is done now. Moving on to the whatever the rest of the tank is that isn't the hull is called. Again, I'm not a tank expert. Somebody would like to fill me in, please do. I'd love to know. Neat thing about this tank is that it's offset in studs, but the door rails on the sides push it all the way out to 8 studs wide, and so do the treads, so it's going to sit fully on the width of that flat car. Of course, there's no problem with that. And drawing a comparison point to the M4a1 that I built, that was modeled previously, that is strictly 7 wide. A lot of plates on this step. Plates are can be difficult to work with, but they often add a lot of rigidity and strength to a model. Famous Lego train enthusiast all around the world. Now, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I appreciate it, and I hope you have a good night. Oh, I've done that wrong already. Moving right along here. So many interesting techniques. So many things that it's interesting to learn how to build things that are that are not trains. I really enjoy doing that whenever I can, like things like the Blackbird and obviously the tank, the 2 tanks that I have, and things along those lines, and of course, you know, other Lego sets as well. And I've got one of the Brickmania Corsairs, which I love. I love the Corsair. It's so interesting to, because for me, is Lego is a way that I can model trains, and for other people, it's so much more than that. But I'm still using the same, roughly the same parts. I mean, it's a very blatantly obvious thing about Lego, but never ceases to fill me with a sense of wonder. Don't need those yet, I don't think. Now I need it. Smaller builds like this are often very fun and relaxing, at least for me. Way to de-stress. I'm not worried about, messing up too badly. The Mohawk is of course a much more intense build, partly due to its size, partly due to the moving parts in it. But these smaller builds, can't get enough of them. They're all wonderful in their own way. Make sure I position these parts the correct way. An instruction booklet of the various car trucks used on BMR models over the years. That's a really neat idea. One thing that you could do if you're in need of something at the moment, one of the things that we came out with when we released the knuckle couplers was a free downloadable PDF guide on how to update the existing trucks to use the knuckle couplers. That might be a good starting point. You might be able to learn from that. There's also some online resources such as lgauge.org has some good resources for, I'm doing this wrong, aren't I? I am doing it wrong. Sorry about that. I want to get the position of these right. lgauge.org has some reference instructions, or has a library even of reference instructions that is useful for things just like that. They have some truck designs in them, things like that are very, very handy to have. Recommend going there if you need something right off the bat, and of course you can get the free download on the Brickmania Railroad website as well. I'm going to change the position on these just a little bit to get these logs to lie flatter. Did I not answer your question? I'm sorry. Could you elaborate on the question then? I think the free to download PDF on the website might solve some of your problems. But if you're asking specifically for the instructions to the BMR trucks, it's something that we could certainly consider. Working on putting the logs on the side of the tank now. I'm sure that a tank like this would not have been shipped directly from the factory with features like this, but yeah, a little bit of artistic license perhaps. Never hurt anybody. Got everything there, we'll move on. Well, up to that point now, and we'll continue on. I believe it's just now the rear side of the tank, which is, I believe, would cover the engine and the turret. We're almost there on this model as well. Grill tiles, of course, for engine ventilation. Makes perfect sense. Let's see what we've got going on here. Kind of a neat technique to get the rear armor slope to achieve that. Just hinge bricks or plate modified with clips and bars. With the clips and the bars put in the right place, and I realize that I've just done that the wrong way. Darn, I need to pay more attention. I'll flip that right around here and be on our way. Darn it. Still making mistakes over here. Should be a simple part of the tank to build, but I'm just not doing a good job of it apparently. There we go, I think we're all set now. Much better, I think. Now much better. Yes. It is a pretty solid build. I don't think even if you are more of a playability person than I am, I don't think you'll have any problem with this model for sure. Make sure that I get the turret built properly. It's a lot of 1x1 bricks with stud on the side. A lot of course, no doubt used for the multitude of curved slopes to achieve the look of the rounded turret. Not completely rounded, I guess, but it's a little bit rounded. It's got curves on it is what I'm trying to say. Calvin is still lighting up my phone through my direct messages on Instagram, telling me all about Canadian Pacific Jubilees. Got the front and backs of the turrets on now, working on the sides. We've got the curved slopes on them, of course. Interesting, that whole thing's built upside down. How about that? Yep, sure is. Interesting. There's things like that that I would not think about building a tank, is like, you just build the turret upside down. You know, that's easy peasy for these guys. Once you get started on a nerd tangent, there's no stopping you. Oh, believe me, I know what that feels like. No worries there. Virtual is here. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying. I hope you're having a good evening, or morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. Working on the main gun now. I guess it isn't built upside down. Flip the stars around though. Sweet, almost there. The hatches, other sort of detailing. I love the use of the fencing foil as the radio antenna. I love that. Just works. All right. And in just a moment, we'll have this complete. I take that off to do this. It might be a little bit easier on me. I said might. There's a couple of fenders on the front that are just clipped on by U-clips and just a little bit difficult, but there's one. A little bit easier if you clip them onto the side and then kind of swing them around to the front where they need to be. Works just a little bit better. And with that, we are nearing the end of the stream. Hope everybody has enjoyed being here. Haven't been going for all that long. It's about an hour and a half, a little over. Smaller models just don't take anywhere near as much time. There you go. There's your Sherman. And we'll put it on the Flatcar. Perfect. Oh, main gun's way up there. Or the coaxial machine gun. Better. All done. That wraps up the building. I'll put all this stuff away and we'll wrap up the stream. Thank you guys very much for watching. If anybody has any last minute questions or anything like that they'd like to ask, I'd absolutely be happy to answer them, but I will be ending the stream pretty shortly here. I'm quite hungry. Need to go get some food. Put everything away. There we go. Hope everybody's enjoyed the stream. I'll be ending it in just a moment. I've very much appreciate everybody who's come out and watched. I will leave this up on my channel for anybody who has joined late and would like to watch the rest or would like to go back and watch it again in full. Thanks everybody else for watching. I'll leave it here. Very hungry. I'm going to go get some food. Enjoy your evening and have a wonderful weekend.